everybody. My name is Ryunn Eldred, and I'd like to welcome you to Nerdgasm Goodfellas presents The Drinking Corner. We are here in our 7th episode. We haven't filmed an episode since February 21st. It's been a while. I am here accompanied today by my good friends.
I'm David, or Boss Foss, or as if you watch Ryunn Eldred's illustrious channel, I would be the gamer tag.
Big words, guys.
Yes. And the third person that is accompanying us is J Puppy.
Oh, a little demotion there. He de-evolved.
He said he wanted to be a different name.
He de-evolved. And together,
let him actually introduce himself. Let him actually
evolution.
introduce himself.
Okay, John, you got to be a big boy. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm an alcoholic.
And for today's episode of The Drinking Corner, we are going to be discussing gaming amnesia. As your host today, I will be judging both the Boss Foss and J-Pups on the stories they deliver involving the topic of...
What was that, J-Pups?
of gaming amnesia. Before we start the podcast, let me ask, how are you guys doing today?
I'll go
How
first.
How have you been since February 21st? That's where we'll take this. Depressed. Okay.
Extremely depressed.
That's
why I don't have Blue Moon today like I normally do. Instead, I have a shot of Fireball.
Had to kick it up a notch.
And I have a Mike's Hard Lemonade.
I see.
Nice.
And I'm not just I know I was showing it as well, but for those who are listening, I'm making sure I verbally express what's going on.
Is that all you?
I am doing very well. Still drinking on this Apple Crisp whiskey, trying to finish it little by little every podcast we have, and been good. Sick the last few days, but I'm feeling 110% better. So,
Rona.
Cheers.
That's good. Cheers to you, mate. I am doing good.
Cheers. Another.
I've had some mental breaks here the last couple days handling school and work. I am drinking the ever so amazing bottle of water because I have dysentery and I'm dying.
Oh. Whew.
So we are gonna talk on the topic. One shot.
You know, a shot of Maker's Mark would help that.
Or it would give me more rot gut than I already have. I have had sulfuric burps for the last month. Just straight.
You should probably go get that checked out, buddy.
I probably should, but I don't have time.
I don't have insurance.
I don't.
Thanks, Obama.
Actually, I do have insurance now. Thanks, Obama.
Thanks you, Obama.
I have insurance. I have not had the time to take myself to the hospital, but I have the time to take my cat to the hospital for her surgery in 3 days.
I had a tiny bit left of the shot that I missed.
You know what helps get rid of sulfuric burps, Tim?
I would love to know.
Quit sucking so much dick.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry. I love you, buddy.
What about you, Ryunn? How have you been, and what are you drinking?
We just went over this.
I wasn't listening.
You never do.
Oh, that was great.
I'm totally fucking with you. I did listen. You're drinking water because you have dysentery. I'm aware.
It's been way too hot. I am not one for the heat. I want to move to Alaska.
Take the heater off your balls, man.
I can't. How else are you supposed to have chestnuts roasting on an open fire?
Tim's nuts roasting on an open fire.
Why we don't get
anywhere. Take down at the door.
Jesus Christ. So to touch
what was this podcast about again?
To touch base on what the point of all this is, I am hosting, which means I'll be judging both David and John. They're going to be giving me stories relating to the gaming amnesia topic. I'm so sorry. During the time that they're telling their stories, I will award them points on how I feel about each story. At the end of the podcast, we'll declare a winner who will host the next episode. So, gaming amnesia, the topic is the following. Take a game that you like. Take a game that you would like to experience amnesia with. Forget everything about it.
Mosquitoes.
The con of this is you'll forget every memory you have associated with the game as well. Complete and total amnesia of this title. But you get to experience it for the first time again. Some clarifications to this topic that David and I have discussed earlier today. If it's a game that was like, let's say from the Nintendo 64, where if you played it today, graphics and stuff like that would not hold up, you would still experience it today as you would have in the past when you played it. So in your mind, you would register it as, oh my God, these pixels are amazing. It looks so real.
Look how smooth they got them.
Look at Laura's body figure. All right. I have never seen polygons.
That's where you went with that? That's where, okay.
That is
okay.
where I'm going with that. It was the first place my mind went to. But to kick us off, so you guys get a little bit of a kind of setup for it, I will go first. A game series. I'll start mine off with a series. Something that I would love to have total and complete amnesia on would be the Mass Effect trilogy, 1, 2, and 3, obviously. And I say that because like it's one of my favorite game franchises of all time. It's a game that holds complete and like dear to my heart. But the reason why it's so important to me is because during the time that I first experienced the games, I was not in a good place in my life. So I was homeless at like 15, 16. I was bouncing around from family member to family member, somewhat abusive homes. I don't want to dive too deep into the details, but Mass Effect, among other games, was definitely one of my escapes. And going through and like I'm playing the Legendary Edition of the games now, and I love it because every time you play Mass Effect, in my opinion, it gets better with each playthrough because you know a little bit more on what's happening every time you go through the games. And you could usually find something new as long as you don't 100% complete it the first time. And even then, you still find little nods or subtle jokes and stuff. But I think it would be interesting to have amnesia with it to kind of disassociate the bad past with a better memory for the games. Because I've always, like, my point in gaming is for narrative stories. And I feel Mass Effect is one of the best narrative stories for a open world adventure.
I really need to play that game. Those
You
games.
do. I have it if you want to borrow it. I had it on disc and digital thanks to Boss Foss.
Absolutely.
They're great. They're amazing. I mean, even Boss Foss can attest to how good they are.
The style is kind of like Fallout, right? That you do quests and you make choices and
it plays like Dragon Age.
Yeah, it plays like Dragon Age. Dragon Age and Mass Effect obviously are from the same developers from BioWare.
Oh, really?
It's also rumored they're in the same universe that Thetis is a planet.
That's a topic for another podcast.
Well, because one's futuristic and one is
medieval
Dragon Age.
But in Mass Effect, you could find an orc in like this collector's thing that he has like all carbonated. And in Dragon Age, you could find the head of a Krogan hanging on Bull's wall in Inquisition.
So there's a little nod to
they're nods.
They're nods.
That's cool. That's neat. I like when franchises do that.
Much like in Fallout, you can find the Nirn route from Skyrim.
Elder Scrolls.
Oh, wow.
It's also theorized
from Elder Scrolls. Yeah.
I have to send you guys this TikTok video. David, you're getting a point for a tangent here. I have a video on TikTok that I was gonna send to you guys about how the nuclear holocaust in Fallout was actually inspired by one of the elder gods from the Elder Scrolls. And that in Fallout 76, you actually can see one of the elder gods in the mission. It's like something you could interact with.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
I'll have to send it to you guys. But then again, they like it's theorized all the Bethesda games are kind of connected because Vault Tech made the facility in Doom. Because you can see the Vault Tech stickers on the doors in Doom. In Doom, you could find Dovahkiin and a guard with like the arrow in the knee in Hell.
No shit. That's really cool.
The fuck was that?
Sound like a car honk.
Right.
Okay, there, John.
It was my card getting locked.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll go with that.
Next thing you know,
Totally
we're gonna
wasn't
see
just
some
you
blonde
ripping
hair
ass.
popping up. All right. So I went first. That's like I know I didn't really go into detail about it, but that is definitely one of mine. It has a story that holds up. And being the fact that it's
Why wouldn't it?
Exactly. And the fact that there's multiple ways to play through, you could be good, evil, neutral, mixed. There's things that correspond to different genders. It's like there's just so much to the game that every time you play it, it's a different experience. And to not know anything about it to go into it again it'd be great. I'd be lost in the game again for another couple 100 hours. All right. We will have John go first because as of right now, David is winning in points.
Uh-oh. Well, that's not good.
That's not good. Actually, I should have gave a point to whoever wanted to go first, but we all make mistakes. Like my parents.
Yeah. There's so many games that I would love to experience from the beginning, and get that shock and awe. So, oh man, I know I always go back to retro games. That's just got a special place in my heart.
That's just you.
That's just me. It's got a special place in my heart.
You grew up during those retro times.
Super Nintendo,
Atari,
regular NES,
stick and ball.
Yeah, shooting the rocks through the,
some jacks.
Never mind. Anyway, I would have to say the Mario franchise. So any games that have to do with Mario, I would love to just erase everything and start from Super Mario Brothers. And because that was what really got me into gaming was Super Mario Brothers. And I had 1, 2, and 3 for the NES, Super Mario World for the SNES, Yoshi's Island. Then we move on to the 64, which is, Mario 64, Mario Kart. Actually, I played Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo before I even tried it on the 64. It wasn't as good, of course, but was still so much fun.
Have you played the newest Mario? I think it was like Mario Odyssey or whatever.
Odyssey, with the hat.
I know it's not. I know it's not the newest because I think Mario Rabbids is like newer.
There is a new Mario Rabbids game coming out. Yes, I don't know if it's already out. If it is,
I think it is.
Did you guys hear that?
Sure,
did you guys hear that Mario Kart had a DLC apparently?
Yes,
like a new DLC.
So it's a pass that is adding 8 new DLCs over like the course of 8 deliveries, and it's 8 new tracks, so for a total of like 40 something new tracks.
Damn.
That we have once seen a previous Mario Kart game that are being brought up, and the first one actually already came out. Me and Katie were talking about whether or not we're going to get it.
I'm still waiting for the DLC on the new Mario Party because apparently there are many other. I know they haven't announced anything, but there's not many.
Super Mario Party or whatever the newest
Superstars.
One. Yeah, the one.
Yeah,
Superstars
the one that we was
played.
supposed to have DLCs that were gonna come with bonus characters, and
we'll see.
That's what I'm waiting for, dude, because that was the first Mario Party that I played. Surprisingly, because I've played everything else pretty much that had to do with Mario.
The first Mario Party I played was on GameCube.
Oh wow!
What are you laughing about, David?
I don't drink, guys. The only time I ever drink is when I'm on the drinking
Did you
corner.
just take that fireball shot?
I took the fireball shot when you're like, all right, cheers. And I am now I'm looking at myself and I can see that I'm just completely red in the face.
Flushed.
Yeah. So I'm like, as I'm sitting here, everything's kind of like kind of moving a little bit slower. And I'm like, I'm starting to get like hit hard by the alcohol right now.
John's like, damn, I need to catch up.
Yes, I do.
I'm a fucking lightweight, I will admit. For a very heavy set guy, I'm a fucking lightweight.
Out of the Mario games, what one would you say would be the one you would be most excited to experience for the first time? Since you've mentioned the whole Mario franchise as a whole, what secular game in that franchise would you be most excited to have Amnesia on?
I'd have to say, I think I've put more time into Mario Kart 64 than any other Mario game. Well, shit, no. Give me a second.
Sure. While you're waiting on that, Tim, using your very own question against you, which Mass Effect game?
Shit. Okay. So if we look at the trilogy as a whole, the one I've played the most is obviously Mass Effect 1. Because on 360, they had the achievement where you had to go through and beat it with like a majority of the game with like each squad mate, but you could only take 2 at a time. So you had to play it at least, what was it, like 4 times?
I don't know.
I don't remember the exact number. So I played 1 the most. 2 I've beaten like 3 or 4 times. And then 3 I've only beaten once. And there's still a lot in Mass Effect 3 I haven't experienced yet, like the Citadel DLC and some other things.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say I'd want Total Amnesia on Mass Effect 1. I've beaten it 12 times.
Damn.
What are these weird ass sounds coming from your headset, David?
It's not from my headset.
That wasn't from yours?
I know. I mean, like,
who the fuck is possessed in this podcast right now?
like my microphone.
Oh no, John! It's the dick behind you.
Man.
Your son was walking in at that.
It's not my headset. My microphone.
Not funny. That would scare the hell out of me.
My microphone is actually on the desk right now. It's not going off of this headset. So yeah, I'm playing around with my cable, but it shouldn't be getting picked up on my microphone. That being said, the cat is in the other room currently, probably making a giant mess that I'm gonna have to clean up.
Fun. That's always fun, clean up messes. But to answer your question, David, I would say I'd want Total Amnesia on Mass Effect 1. It's the one
Answer your
I've
question,
beaten.
David.
I would have to say
Martin. I was playing. Go ahead.
I'm gonna kill you, John. I would drive to your house tonight with a shovel. And I'm gonna bury the shovel, then bury you.
You have shovel fights.
Mm-hmm. It's like some white trash whores on YouTube.
Hit that bitch with a shovel.
You remember that video in high school, David? No.
Some chick gets smacked in the face with a shovel.
Yeah, it circulated our high school, and like there was like for a week, people were like, "Oh my god, she died."
I don't remember much of high school, but that's a tangent that we don't need to get into right now.
True. But yeah, Mass Effect 1 would be the one I want most Amnesia on, because I feel like despite that 2 had better combat and it improved everything from the first game, and I do like Mass Effect 2 better as a whole, I feel like Mass Effect 1 had more to offer. Your face is so flushed, dude, and you just have that like look. You have that look of like.
So that might also just be my light. Like, I'm going to turn on a flashlight and totally reel at it. My face is actually pretty.
No, we're gonna have to watch this from the beginning and just watch it slowly get redder and redder.
Like like a Looney Tunes cartoon, it just trails up.
So I honestly do think it's just the light right now. I don't think my face is that red.
John, what were you saying is your all-time Mario game that you'd want to go
Oh, is it
back
my
to?
turn again?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Oh, I
your
can go
turn.
again?
Yeah, well,
Because
yeah,
I said 1 second and then you talked for 5 minutes.
because David interjected and had me talk. This is my show, John. I can do what I want.
See my face.
I would have to say Super Mario Brothers 3 was the best.
Good call.
It
Good
had
call.
all the suits, all the different mini games, and 2 was really hard for me to get into because it was so different from 1 and 3. But yeah, 3, dude, I think I've played more than any other game besides Mario 64 or Mario Kart. It was just fun, and that's a game that me and my brother grew up playing, and I just got a lot of good memories, nostalgic memories, just staying up for hours, the wee hours of the night, kicking ass on Mario, and pretty much finding little pipes and at the end of the levels to go in to warp, and the whistles and all the cool shit that you can get in your accessory bar or whatever it was at the bottom. You could gain all the different items. It was one of the most fun games I ever played when I was young, and I always think about it, and I'd always love to, like you said, I'd love to just forget all about it and play it again from fresh and just experience that
That nostalgia. Well, not really nostalgia, because
I would just experience that, like, oh my god, this is so much fun. I played it for literally just hours straight, because those game systems would not get hot, you know what I mean? You could play those things, you could leave them on for days,
weeks,
and they wouldn't like they wouldn't get hot and burn up, and no fans about ready to catch on fire. And yeah, I'd have to say I could probably play it right now, not forgetting about it, and still learn different things about that game, because there's so many.
Well, I mean, you're fairly
twists
old,
and
so
turns.
Amnesia's already kicking now.
You just wait. You just wait.
When we go to see Morbius, I'm gonna be sitting there.
At least I still have my luscious mop of hair on my head, Tim. You want to go there, buddy? You want to go there?
I am taking away all 3 of your points. We both can play with fire. David's played with fireballs, so we should look out. He's fondling the Satan.
I used to play with fire all the time. I used to light my hands on fire. Melt army men, all kinds of stuff.
I used to play with fire. I used to light my hand on fire.
I used to spray cologne on my hand and light that shit on fire and be like, yes.
Your family's watching you from the window like, hey, Mom. Yeah, our son's going to need another week's stay. So notice how I use the brick phone.
Yeah, like that. Well, this is how my generation does the phone sign. I don't know about y'all, but holding the phone up to your like you're holding it like that.
Bluetooth.
Hello? Bluetooth.
All right, David, what game or game franchise would you pick to have gaming amnesia from?
Fallout.
Woo!
Was not expecting that.
I would love to get a chance to re-experience all the Fallouts again.
Now, are we talking like all the Fallouts, like 1 and 2?
All the Fallouts. Well, we lost J-Dawg.
Oh, yeah, what happened?
The assassin I sent came.
While we're waiting on J-Dawg to get his camera back up and running. There we go. Yes. So I would love to re-experience all the franchise. 1, 2,
Brotherhood of Steel, Tactics.
Yeah. Tactics. That was it. I have not played Brotherhood of Steel.
Was 1 and 2 much different from 3 and New Vegas?
Yes. So 3, New Vegas, 4, 76 are all first person, third person, open world, while 1, 2, and Tactics were actually top down.
Really?
In Brotherhood of Steel. I never played it, so I don't ever remember that.
I did not know that about one.
It was
that's
essentially top-down PC.
Were made by a different company too.
They were all by, what is it, Interplay?
I have no idea the name of the original.
I was like, the same company
Fallout
developed New Vegas. So Bethesda developed everything that was east, while the original company essentially developed everything west.
So what game in particular would you pick as like the one you would absolutely want total amnesia?
76.
What?
And here's why. We have talked about this before. I don't think it was
I know your reasoning why too.
But 76, because we played it at launch and it left a horrible taste in my mouth. I love the Fallout franchise. Always have. The first one I played was Fallout 3 on my buddy Isaiah's PlayStation. And then I bought it for Xbox. Then I got New Vegas on PC. But 76, when I played it, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. And I would love to get a chance to re-experience it, give it a brand new, never have seen before, from what it currently is now.
Yeah, because
I feel like if I were to experience it now, I would actually have a better experience.
To go on a side tangent from your topic real quick, because as you know, I record the Fallout 76 with Matt, who fortunately for Matt did get to start from scratch with all the new DLCs and updates. So it's always interesting to talk to him about the like how the game starts for him compared to how when me and you did it during beta, how the game started for us.
I still don't have a lot of the achievements from
I need to start the game over too, but by the time the game actually came out, David and I were more than halfway through the main story.
Wow.
Like David and I made a lot of progress before the game actually released.
So then, like we gave it an honest shot.
I think right now the series sits at like 30 something videos, and the first 17 are me and David, and I want to say Saint.
I don't think it was Saint.
Maybe it was
who
Noah.
Maybe.
So what was it about the beta launch that you guys didn't really care for?
The entire story was told through holo tapes. So there was nobody there but us. And the world itself, to me, I can't speak on David's half. The world to me felt barren. And it felt like
I will agree with Ryunn on this.
Yeah, because one of the best experiences of Fallout is the interactions between
it's the interactions between the
random
NPCs,
encounters.
All of that. And everything was, oh yeah, there was people here, but they're gone now. It's like
they went east.
Yeah, they went east, so they went west. They left West Virginia. It's like that doesn't make sense.
Why was it only the characters that you play as left?
They
never explained.
They always intended to bring NPCs, but I think it was because they pushed.
They didn't.
No,
they never intended to add NPCs. The only reason they added NPCs is because essentially from the beta players, a major complaint was the fact that there was no NPCs. People didn't have, NPCs to talk to. There was the occasional robot. I think the robot was essentially the only NPC you may run into. Otherwise, it was robots, enemies.
The feral ghouls and super mutants didn't talk to you. Matter of fact, I still don't know if
I don't recall ever seeing a super mutant, but the Scorch, I know we fought against a lot of times.
But like the other thing that made me mad was like they would like kind of sprinkle lore into the game by having like you go to the airport and there's a crashed vertibird and you could find remnants of the Brotherhood of Steel. And they would not go further with that, but they'd be like, oh, the Brotherhood of Steel is planning to make a comeback, which they do through the Cold Steel and Cold Rain DLC. The only faction that you run through in the base game before the DLCs and before the NPCs was the Enclave. Because the game
Responders.
the responders too, yeah. So the responders and the Enclave were the only two factions you really got to communicate with. But the way you worked with the responders was you became the last responder. And you pretty much worked for every faction of the responder, the medical, the fire department, and all that. And then through the Enclave, you do the final game event of dropping the nuke by helping the Enclave re-scorch the earth.
Wow.
To try to kill out the scorched beast. In which you find an underlying threat that the game still hasn't addressed yet, which is the vines. Because the map is corroded by a living, breathing vine that is slowly overtaking.
Which Fallout was it that you start in your house before the bombs? And
4.
Is that okay? All right.
And it's literally only like 10-15 minutes before the bombs fall.
Yeah, like somebody comes up to your door and they try to pitch
A
this
Vault
thing
Tech
to you.
and
Good morning, Vault Tech calling. And then they basically you go through it's how you set up, name your character, your original base stats.
Okay.
I do want to say I think Fallout 4 had the best start out of all the games I played.
Yeah, it really.
I mean, Fallout
in your
3,
mind.
you literally are born.
Are born. Yeah. Yeah. And you grow up in a vault too. But I mean, 4, seeing
Fallout, the
actual
original Fallout,
bomb-
you also grow up in a vault.
The original Fallout, you start leaving the vault.
Well, yeah, but you start out in the vault. You leave Vault 13.
Yeah.
But yes, actually being there before the bombs fall was a very interesting experience.
Yeah.
It was
one that
really
sticks
cool
in the
to
back of your
see
head.
how the world looked before the bombs.
And then you wind up going back to your house and seeing all the aftermath and
then you could turn your house into your first base.
yeah,
That's
so
what I
fun.
do. What my base is always.
They did.
Oh
an-
yeah, I
they
mean,
did an
yeah,
awesome job.
Sanctuary Hills is always the first kind of solid
Base.
base.
Hey, I have a spot that I found what is it that he always says? Fuck.
There's another settlement that needs your assistance or needs your help.
Hate him.
I still
All
think
right.
that,
So we got David and John both.
New
We all
Vegas
threw
was
in
one
our.
of my favorites still.
If I were to have Amnesia from any Fallout game, I'd want Fallout 3 because Fallout 3 is what brought me into the franchise. And I know I don't ever really talk about my dad, like in general, but I would have to thank my father for introducing me to that game because when he first showed it to me, I literally spent months only playing Fallout 3. And I didn't even beat it till like 3 years after playing it. Like I literally, I did every single thing you could do in that game, went into every building you could. I would hear like rumors of I forget what the kid's name is, but the serial killer kid that you experience in like the flashback when you go to try to find your father. And then the little girl has you put on the clown mask with the knife. I can't remember.
Yeah,
his name.
you become the stabber. John,
John!
if it is a spoiler by now, it's a little late. The game has been out.
I played New Vegas
very
first.
long
I
time.
played 4 after that one. I saw 3, but I didn't see the intro to it. So I have New Vegas and 4 in my
All right,
head.
spoiler for
And then I
Fallout
go
3.
back and I play
You're
3,
born.
and for some reason
You're
could
born.
not-
Oh
I
my
couldn't get
God,
into
it's
it.
Jason Bourne.
I couldn't get into it, man, because it was such a slow intro
burn
compared.
Well, yeah,
to
it's a bit
compared to New
slower of a
Vegas and
start,
4.
but it's
the
helping
whole
kind of
baby
establish your
into child into
you're from the
know,
vault, and then spoiler, you weren't actually born in the vault.
Really. Yeah. I couldn't get into it that much, dude. And then honestly, I don't know why I never kept playing because I knew it was going to get better, but for some reason I don't even have it on my game list anymore. So
I recommend playing it on PC. They just fixed it so that way you don't need the Windows, whatever it was that you needed to be able to play the game. And so now you can play Fallout 3 on PC without having to like hack things.
So, Mr. Ryunn, are we allowed to bring in more games that we would like
Yeah.
to explore?
Yeah.
I do believe he was about to get back to that before he decided to tangent and say what Fallout was that he was.
Okay, because I mean, Fallout.
John, if you're wanting to take the reins right now, John,
about it.
if you want to take the reins, John, and mention another thing, that's a good point for you, buddy.
I'd like to say Gears of War 1, 2, and 3.
No.
Gears of War original trilogy was one of the best storylines I think I had ever played up to that date. It came out 2006.
The original one, like Gears 1.
Gears of War came out.
No idea when it first
came out. Yeah, pretty early on.
Early Xbox.
I really got into that, and then and then 2 came out, and the storyline just expanded tremendously, and then 3 was incredible. So
I will say, since Gears is like one of my all-time favorite franchises as well, when I first ever played Gears of War 3, and the only reason why I will not say I want Amnesia on Gears is because I remember how fucking hard I cried. Spoiler alert. I played 1 and 2 as Dom. And like we played these all in quick session, 1, 2, and 3, like all together at one time, me and my dad.
Really?
And I still remember crying watching Dom make his sacrifice. Yeah. And then that instant feel like I felt like somebody I genuinely loved and cared about died just now. And when you're walking through that, like where the first hammer strike happened and you see all the petrified corpses and all that, and just Marcus's whole attitude changing.
Yeah. And when you accidentally bump into one
and they just
dissolve and blow away in the wind.
And then the ending with Marcus just saying, "This is for Dom," and he has his knife and he just kills her. I remember having so many ranges of emotions with Gears 3. Yeah. Where it's like Gears 3 is still my favorite Gears of War.
Oh yeah.
Like I love 4 and I very much love what 5 has done with itself. But Gears of War 3 is the pinnacle of my favorite Gears. And I pray to God that if Gears of War is really getting that Halo remastered collection style, I can't wait to re-experience the trilogy all in like 4K graphics and just really re-experience all that emotion. Not even with an Amnesia point of view, but just that the memory and everything I hold with it. Because I have the books and I have the comics. I got my fucking cog tags right here. Like, obviously, I love that game. You get 2 points. You made me happy. David's like, shit, I gotta try it now.
No, I'm not even worried, man. Win, lose, I'm still gonna be in the next podcast. So,
Or are you?
That's probably not. When his front door shuts and he's like, ooh. David!
So you were talking about how you really felt for Dom, yeah. Yes. Give me a second. I'm Dom sorry. My brain was like, no. Dom's the main character, David. It's like, no, Dom's not the main character. I was having a brain fart there.
He is a main character.
Yeah.
He is a main character, sure, but he's not the main character you really
he was there from day one, man.
Sure.
Break Marcus out of prison.
So a game that I don't know if I'd want Amnesia per se. I talked to Ryunn about this earlier. Is specifically Ace Combat 5.
Oh God.
Oh,
okay, hang on.
We got some judgment up on here.
I'm not saying I want Amnesia, but I was going off of the point of he said, I really felt for this character, and then when he made the sacrifice, he was really sad. Ace Combat 5, first Ace Combat I ever played, playing with my dad, so I have this emotional attachment to the game, which is also why I don't want to per se have the amnesia, because I don't want to forget that existed. This was one of the first games that my dad actually went out of his way. He found the game, thought, I think David will like this game. He bought the game for me. It was for PS2. And then he would sit in the room with me and play the game with me. And there's a moment when it's about 3/4 of the way through the game. One of your wingmen, he gets hit by a missile. So now he's describing the fact of his cockpit is, fire has broken out, but they're waiting for the stadium to evacuate because he's going to crash land at the stadium, even though, in my own personal opinion, he could have just ditched out over the river or ditched out in all the farmland that was around instead of waiting for the stadium to clear out. But he waited too long for the stadium to evacuate, couldn't eject, and then he sacrificed himself to make sure that nobody got hurt from his jet. And as a 10, 11-year-old, this was a character that I really felt for, and then was really pissed off that I'm sorry, I'm noticing on my camera that my bedding was popping in right there, and it popped in such a way that it looked like a skeleton hand. It looked like it was a skeleton hand from like the sock or whatever was behind me. And it was like, wait, what the fuck's behind me? But it actually got to a point, because I was so pissed off that they killed off this character, that my dad had to take control of the game. It was like, hey, David, let's take a break for you. Obviously, you're a little bit emotionally attached. I'm just like crying and like, no, I need to kill these guys. Emotional attachment.
I like stories of emotional attachment.
That was a random tangent.
He's like, give me the controller. Don't be a little bitch.
You get 2 points.
I was just joking.
Thanks.
I wish my dad played video games with me.
Yeah, I was like, my dad hates video games. He thinks that video games are one of the worst things. And yet he knew that I really cared about video games, and he went out of his way to make sure that he found a video game he thought I would like, and then took time out of his day to sit there with me and play games. And there's a few games that me and him ended up playing together later on, like Trials Evolution, I think is one that ended up being one of the Trials games. We actually sat there. Looks like he's on his phone. One of the Trials games, it was the second Trials game, so not
he's
Trials.
handing his phone to somebody. There's another person in the room.
Hi. We sat there for a good couple hours on the same map, competing for the world title for this map, and we ended up coming in like 10th place.
Wow,
nice.
So Ace Combat 5 actually had a good storyline to it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, all the Ace Combats really have a good story.
I just remember getting so pissed off playing Ace Combat. I don't know why.
I know David's tried to get me into it with, which one was it, 6 or 7 that we got on Xbox?
Well, 6 and 7 are both on Xbox. They were the first two to come to Xbox.
I don't know.
6,
I just couldn't get into them.
6 is one of the weird ones to where the story and the player are very detached. 7, it's a bit detached, but it's still, kind of alludes to, and you're more talked about. In 6, the story basically follows this mother looking for her daughter who she thought died on the bridge when their nation was attacked. 7, it's obviously 4K game, and I feel does a better job kind of focusing on the character. Ace Combat 4, 5, and 0 are the 3 PS2 games that I actually owned and played a lot, and then 6 and 7 are the other 2 that I've played. But 4, 5, and 0 actually focus on your character for the story. It was a random tangent. Sorry.
All right, we'll go into my second game.
Well, I didn't actually say a game that this was not a game that I wanted to have Amnesia on. That was the very
We
first
went
thing.
on a whole tangent of
Yeah, I told you. I was like, this is not a game I want to have Amnesia on. I'm just making this link.
So what's the game?
Oh, you want a second game for me?
I gave you like 2.5 points on your story here, and I feel cheated because it wasn't even your story.
I told you. No, it was my story. I was just making a link, and I was like, no, this isn't a game that I want to have Amnesia on because of these reasons.
And then I know you gave the whole backstory, and I was like, this is good stuff. This is
all right. Fine then. We'll let you continue on, and then I have a third game now.
Okay. So for me, my second game would be one of the last few games that my grandfather, who was a huge supporter of my gaming addiction, he didn't do the whole what is it called when you bring everybody together? Intervention, yeah. So Resident Evil 4.
It's only a game.
Resident Evil 4 would be mine. And I say that because during the time that I got homeless from like my dad going to prison and my family completely disowning me and saying, yeah, get the fuck out of here. We don't want you here. My ex-fiance, Nicole, her family pitched in, got me like a PlayStation, and my grandfather gave me an old copy of Resident Evil 4 that I had that he got me a long time ago before my dad got custody. And so I was re-experiencing that game and actually playing it for the first time. I was 16, so I was more cognitively aware of the game and what was going on compared to when it first came out in 2005, and I wasn't old enough to really comprehend. And like I played, I think in the span of junior and senior year of high school, which was around the equivalence of when I was homeless to going into the foster home, I played and beat Resident Evil 4 like 15, 16 times.
Holy shit.
I would go over to Nicole's house. I would sit down, like her whole family would literally gather around me as I played Resident Evil. And I played it so much that I knew like muscle memory every single collectible, every single like note, every single hidden gun, every single like Easter egg
jump
to
scares
a T.
and...
Jump scares to a T. I could speed run that game in a couple of hours. Like I knew the game and I had it memorized like muscle memory. And I think it'd be, given where I'm at now and the situations that happened with Nicole and I think it would be interesting to have Amnesia on the game because it's a game that I truly love and it's where my love for Leon came. Because after I played 4, we went and got a GameCube from a friend of ours named TJ, and I played through 1, 2, and 3. And then I started playing 4, 5, 6, and then eventually 7, 8, Revelations 1 and 2, and all the others. But it's because of Resident Evil 4 that I started that journey through Resident Evil. And it would just be nice to be able to jump back into the game and experience and be like, dude, this village is creepy. Like, oh my gosh, they're not really zombies. They're just like mutated villagers. And Leon's like quips and laughing about it and really getting like creeped out by like Salazar's castle, to where it's like where I play it now, I don't get that same feeling. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna hit this corner and there's gonna be Dr. Salvador right here. And I gotta flashbang him and then knife a few times, kick him back. So it's a game that I've played to a point of muscle memory that it would just be nice to kind of forget the whole thing, to be able to run through it again.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that game was badass, dude.
It was great. I mean, I've played
it.
I've played it on GameCube, the Wii, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Xbox One. And I've played it on the whatever, the Rift, the Vibe, whatever the VR version of
Oculus
it is. Thing? Yeah, and I've played it in VR because I just recently bought it for my mom's VR set that she has. So that way I can play the game again, but in VR. Which I gotta say, completely different feeling playing that.
So
game
is that
VR.
From Leon's point of view?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You literally are Leon. and you get to
I
walk through
couldn't
the
imagine
village.
playing that game.
Oh
with a
my
point
god,
of view.
dude, it's so fucking good. Like, if you come over next, we'll go to my mom's house and we'll play it.
That'd
Like,
be
it's
badass.
great. I also got Walking Dead in VR too.
Oh shit!
Oh shit! Party
I
at
love me some
Tim's
Walking
house.
Dead.
We're gonna have a party at Tim's house. Yay! Yeah. All right, David. Since you said you have a third, we'll start with you this roundup.
I technically have a third and fourth since you're counting my.
Throw them both. Throw them both right now.
All right. Well, jumping back a second, Ace Combat 5 is also where I got my gamer tag from. I forgot to mention that part because I wasn't including that as my second game, so I'm just very quickly adding that. Number 3 is Persona 5, and number 4 is Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima is such a new game, though.
Yes, and I would love to get to re-experience it again.
I would love to experience it for a first time. I really hate the fact that I never really play my PlayStation because, like, I want to do Days Gone and I want to do Death Stranding.
Sponsor us. For those of you who don't know, I'm wearing an Xbox shirt. This is pretty much all I ever play, but I do have a PlayStation. But sponsor us.
We get a sponsor from Spider-Man because he's like, John's shirt.
We get a sponsor from the Gorillas as well, but not from Xbox.
I would be head over heels. I don't even know why they would sponsor us.
Persona 5, for those of you who don't know, which is probably everybody listening to this, and John, apparently. The only reason I'm aware of Persona 5 is Tim came over to my house with his PlayStation and he was like, yeah, I got this game here. You want to play it? I'm like, yeah, sure. Ended up spending the entire night playing this game. And he goes,
you even borrowed my PlayStation.
Yeah, he's like, you want to borrow my PlayStation? No, it wasn't a month. It was only like a week. He's like, you want to borrow my PlayStation?
Only like
yeah, sure, why not?
I was like, I bought you one like right after that too, didn't I? I bought you one and then you immediately turned it in.
So, John and everybody listening,
damn,
Ryunn bought me a PlayStation 4.
Taking away a point.
And I was like, oh, that's so awesome. So I launch it up, everything's running great. The following day, it has a power issue. Like a horrible, horrible power issue. And so I take it back to the GameStop and I'm like, hey, what's going on here? We, literally got this console yesterday and I'm having these issues. And they launched it up and it thankfully does the issue immediately. And they're like, oh, this is actually a very common issue. We're actually aware that this PlayStation wasn't supposed to be sold. Yeah. And they're like, you can upgrade to a newer PS4, but not the PS4 Pro. Or you can upgrade to the PS4 Pro, but it's going to be even more money. And I was like, oh, I'll just upgrade to the newer PS4 console.
You lucky son of a bitch. You used my money and mixed a little bit of yours in there and you got a better system.
I got a better system. I wish I got the Pro, though. Honestly. Because it goes to Tsushima. But, and then I ended up working at the GameStop. Go figure.
That's badass, dude.
Yeah.
And for your
unrelated,
I want to work at GameStop.
So you got Persona, and you've kind of listed the reason why because I got you addicted to it, and you
I absolutely love it. Well, I love.
Well, I mean,
Japanese RPGs.
You still play Persona still too now. I mean, we both.
Oh, I play Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah, we play the better version.
Enhanced and expanded version of Persona 5.
I still have yet to play Strikers.
I own Strikers. I've yet to play it, but I have
Strikers.
I have Strikers on my Switch, and then PlayStation gave it away for free, which was nice.
Yeah.
And then Ghost of Tsushima. Yes, Ghost of Tsushima is newer. Ghost of Tsushima was one of those games while working at GameStop. I was like, oh, I really like the pre-order stuff, the collector's box. Here, I'm just going to toss some money down and decide later if I want it, just so that way we at least have it coming into the store. And then our store got shut down, so I had to pick it up at a different store.
Still a shame that store got shut down. The best store in the entire district.
Second best in the entire district. The first best was from Sacramento, and that's just because they had a lot more foot traffic. But yes, it's an absolute shame that they chose to close down the second best in the district.
All right, well, this doesn't relate to Amnesia. No.
And not the worst in the district.
I actually have 5 other games that I'd like to mention.
You get a point per game, John.
I mean, if we're gonna just start listing off games,
we are wrapping up with our final conclusions on games, David.
All right, fine then. I'll just list them off. You ready? Area 51, which John currently has my copy of.
Okay, David's done at Area 51. Any reason on why you want Amnesia for that one?
I just thoroughly loved it. I've yet to actually beat it. John, have you played Area 51 yet? I know you've had my copy for a couple months.
I have not played it yet. I got to hook up my PS2. But thanks for reminding me, because I will do that.
And my last game that I will throw on is Mercenaries 2.
Ooh.
That is a good one. I give you that.
That was so much fun, dude.
Yeah, dude, it was an absolute blast.
Yeah, that was a big jump from 1 to 2 that they made too.
Absolutely.
Like 1 was fun, but 2 just was badass.
Or 1.
I loved Mercenaries 2.
There was a Mercenaries 3 in production, and the studio went under before they could finish it.
Oh, that sucks, dude.
It was based in, I think, Cuba.
Yeah, I think so. I loved calling in those
nuclear bunker busters.
They're just like, come on, bitch, I'm marking you.
All right, John.
It was fun.
This is your final moment to shine. What other games would you want Gaming Amnesia on?
All right, let's do first of all The Amazing Spider-Man.
The Amazing Spider-Man?
Shocking.
I believe it's called The Amazing Spider-Man. No, it's just called Spider-Man. I'm sorry.
The PS4 one?
I kind of like read my shirt before I said anything. So
the Insomniac one?
Yes, the Insomnia's PlayStation Spider-Man had amazing gameplay, fun freaking gadgets you could use, dude. Just everything about that game was perfect. Honestly, it was.
I definitely agree with you, because I mean, I've played the Ultimate Spider-Man, which I don't know if you've played that one. I played on PS2. It was more comic book style-y.
Yeah.
And then obviously I played
No, that wasn't the.
That's the one where you got to also play as Venom.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do remember that one.
And then
I played one. It was weird. It was like a side-scrolling Spider-Man, and you could summon different Marvel characters in. They'd come in and assist you really quick, and then they'd bounce out. It was really weird. I only rented it from Blockbuster back in the day.
God, John, how old are you gonna make yourself appear on here, man?
Oh yeah.
We don't know what a Blockbuster is now.
Actually, I know what a Blockbuster is.
I do. I remember
bring movie stores back. That's what we need to do,
bro.
They all went out of store because of Netflix.
Should we petition it?
Netflix.
Should we petition it? Get signs. We'll bring Hollywood Video back
as well.
We'll bring Hollywood Video back.
also killed it.
Dude, Hollywood Video was my shit, man.
My grandpa used to take me there all the freaking time. Like once a week, we'd go there. I'd rent a new game, play it for hours, which leads me to another one of mine. But we're gonna focus on John, because I think John needs a little bit more attention.
This Blockbuster was like,
ain't
what?
That right, baby? You need a little more attention, John.
Oh yeah, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Can we not fucking do this, guys? You're blowing my eardrums.
I was gonna do a metal guttural growl, but no, that's not. Okay. So Spider-Man. Tim, you mentioned it. You mentioned. Did you mention Days Gone?
I did, yes.
Okay.
I mentioned it not as a game that I wanted.
For some reason, I was connecting that to The Last of Us. I mistook it, but yes, The Last of Us Part 1 was an amazing game, had great cinematic cutscenes, really pulled your emotions into the game. And then 2, they just took your emotions and then beat them to death with a baseball bat.
Actually, it was a golf club.
A golf club, yes, thank you.
High five, David. The first stand. The first stand. There you go. Yeah.
Never played any of The Last of Us, but go on.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And let's see here. I would have to say Uncharted, because that was another one that blew my freaking noggin. That was probably, like, compared to Gears of War, probably the best cinematic experience. What was that?
I got a loop with David sitting in the background whispering sponsor us as he's underlining the Xbox symbol. I'm just gonna clip that right there and loop it throughout the entire video. That would be the ambient noise in the background. It's just sponsor us. We're desperate. I like the idea of Last of Us 1 and 2 because it's very rare for me to be solely invested into a game to where I physically cry. It's happened, like, obviously with Gears of War. Mass Effect came close in 3 when I first ever played it because I beat 3 on launch day, and the ending of 3 had me more angry than sad. But I would say Last of Us 1 and 2, I experienced 1 years after it already came out, so I knew the ending, but still physically seeing the emotion that Troy Baker brought to Joel brought a tear to my eye at the end of 1. And then just seeing Joel, who, like, when you go into Last of Us, you know he's not a good guy. He's not the hero. But he's not the hero of the story, but he's not the villain. He would have done what any of us would have done.
He did what he thought was right.
I am sorry to say, if it was like my daughter figure, I would not be able to sacrifice her life to save everyone.
Yeah.
Like that is, personally speaking, I 100% agree with Joel. And to see him get unalived and like literally have to watch it, and then you just see his face and everything.
In such a brutal fashion, and Ellie watching it happen.
I hated Abby. You could watch through my videos.
I know.
I like from that moment.
And then they make you play as her.
I was like fuck
bro.
This. Dude, the second I played as her, I jumped her off a cliff and killed her. And I was like, that's what you get, bitch. And it was like, I would just kill her at any opportune time. And then it was like, I started playing as her and I understood her character more, and I understood. And I was like, well, fuck that. Like, I get it. Yeah. It's not because of the choice Joel made. It's because Joel took her father from her. Yeah. Spoilers, but her reasons were justified.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful game. And I would love to have Amnesia on it to experience it again. Hell, I'd love to just play it again to experience it again.
I have 1 and 2.
I do too.
Okay.
I'm excited.
I haven't played either of them yet.
Do you have the remastered version of 1? Okay.
And I'm also gonna.
I didn't play 1 until the remastered version came out, and I got it. Like
I don't know if you heard it or not, but it's getting a reboot. They're remaking the first game, and they're changing aspects of it.
A reboot?
Yes, they're rebooting.
Fucking reboot.
So on another side tangent, the Last of Us HBO Max TV show released set photos.
We're wrapping it up. Tangents.
You gotta love tangents. Tangents is where you get the points, David. You gotta be competitive.
So,
I am the host, and I'm leading
with 60. With that.
Huh?
I said, when is HBO going to grace us with that?
I think the last I heard about it, it had like an end of the year release date. We'll have to look it up later. Yeah. But I mean, Pedro Pascal as Joel.
Like doing everything.
Like Pedro Pascal plays Joel, and he looks amazing as the role. Because in the video and photos you see, you get to see it was Joel, Ellie, Sam.
Isn't that Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Really?
The dude that plays Mando is the dude that's playing Joel.
Freaking Mando's character.
But I don't know any other way to say this, but you remember the two people in the first game that joined Joel and Ellie? It was Sam and I can't remember his older brother's name.
Shit.
But like
Yeah.
the little kid gets bit. It was a scene
Yeah.
with all of them and they're crossing a street.
Mhm.
And you got to see the two brothers and you got to see Joel and Ellie. And it looks amazing. And I'm excited for it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Any other final submission games, John?
Nope.
All right. My final submission games to wrap this up. Scooby-Doo Night of 1,000 Frights. Anybody play
Really?
that? Anybody
I've
play
never
that one
played
here?
that. No.
So it was a Scooby-Doo game that was semi-open world.
What?
And you had to collect monster tokens and everything, and how to find the other members of Mystery Inc. And it was one of my all-time favorite and most played games growing up, next to like Small Soldiers and Toy Story before I started playing like COD and WWE.
Toy Story was fun, dude.
Toy Story
was a lot of
2
fun.
had the best what was it? There was another Toy Story game and I can't remember what it was, but it was like a spin-off, not one based off of the movies, but a spin-off Toy Story game that was hella good.
Huh.
And then they had a Disney skateboarding game that was also extremely good. And I can't remember the name of it, but it was like purely skateboarding. You got to skateboard in all of the Disney worlds. But apart from those, I would love to even just see them back as remasters. You okay there, David? No? La Llorona coming to get you?
Not sure what I'm hearing.
We're just gonna see David levitate, spine rip backwards, and him fly against the wall.
Paranormal Activity on us.
That's how the video's gonna end.
His camera's just like, oh yeah, dude.
Probably
Secretly,
the cat.
R.I.P.
Secret-
David.
secretly, this was all just an episode of Paranormal Activity. So apart from Scooby-Doo Night of 1,000 Frights, The Simpsons Hit and Run would be another one I want absolute amnesia for. And then because I wanted to name some not like AAA titles for that. Another game I would really like to have amnesia for, and it's been on my mind this entire time, and I'm starting to space it and forget what title it was. I know me and you, David, talked about Metal Gear, how I wanted to redo Metal Gear 5,
Dude.
Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom
that just
Pain,
made me think of
because
something.
when I first played it, I had no idea about any of the other ones, and I've been lucky enough to actually experience all the games for the first time because I bought the Legendary Edition for PS3 that has all of them in one disc. God, I can't remember the other game I was gonna say. All right, amnesia kicked in, and I absolutely forgot. John, you holding up a finger? You gonna try to get a bonus
one
point?
One more that you said that, you said Metal Gear, and for some reason it reminded me of Twisted Metal. Those games.
That was a good staple of my
many
childhood,
hours,
too.
dude. And when
I went through and
Twisted Metal
bought
Black.
I bought
played-
Black on my PS4.
Dude, the first time
I have
my
Black.
buddy
Dude,
bought
it's
that
not
for
the
my
one that I
birthday,
remember playing back in the day, though.
Twisted Metal 3 was probably the more popular one.
That's probably the one that I ended
Rob
up playing.
Zombie.
They need to
Rob
make a
Zombie
new.
song
They
and
need to
shit.
make a new Twisted Metal.
Yes,
like
They
a-
did.
Did they?
They did, but
They
I
did.
never played it. And
There's a reason that we don't
PlayStation
recall ever
3,
hearing
right?
about it because
It was
no,
bad.
I think it actually came out on the PS4.
really.
Twisted
Well,
Metal.
Did you know they're
while you're
making a
doing
TV
that-
series?
Twisted Metal Black, I played by myself in the dark, and that freaking each character's story
2012.
mode was scary as shit, dude. And it was so gory back then. That was like one of the first goriest games that I played, and it scared the shit out of me. I had
I
nightmares.
forget.
about that game.
I
I
remember the
forget
game.
which game. Before you go on that tangent, Tim, just hold on to it. I forget which game I was playing that actually had a demo for Twisted Metal Black on it, and they were telling the story. It was like, yeah, I know. It was like in another game.
I
It
miss
was
those
like
days.
inside that game, you just click on it. It's like Twisted Metal Black, and they go through this whole story of all the developers died in a plane crash, and this is going to be a game that was canceled, and they decided to throw this demo into this game. I forget, again, don't remember what game it was, and as a way of paying homage to all the people who died in this plane crash. And for the longest time I believed it, but I later found out that the game did actually come out, and I was like, oh, okay, well. But again, can't remember what game it is.
Dude, me and my childhood friend played Twisted Metal every day.
The Twisted Metal that most recently came out on the PS3 and came out in 2012.
Yeah.
I think I played that one because you get to roam around the map as Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
If I remember right. If you're listening or watching this.
Twisted Metal Black came out in 2001. Twisted Metal 2 came out in 1996. Really? There was a Twisted Metal Head On that came out in 2005.
Well, there needs to be one that comes out in 2022.
Twisted Metal 4 that came out in 99. Twisted Metal 3 came out in 98.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, dude, I was hella young playing those games. That's crazy.
Me too.
96, 98, 99, 2001. There was 2 separate Twisted Metal games that came out in 2001. 2005, then 2012.
I remember going through my mom's games and finding whatever Twisted Metal had Rob Zombie driving the Dragula. It was 3. Me and my friend Morgan would sit there, dude, just head banging out, burn through the ditches and burn, just fucking playing that game just for the soundtrack.
I can think right now and think of
I remember
the
like
popular
the bedroom
arena.
I remember right off the bat the bedroom arena.
Oh. And you were like little
you're miniature
cars and everything was big size. Yeah, dude. Holy shit.
I loved Twisted Metal. That was some Amnesia shit right there.
That's crazy, yeah.
Shit, I don't think it was Twisted Metal 3
but
that I played.
Speaking of Amnesia, the game that I'm remembering is Amnesia. No.
What is it? I'm glad you remembered it.
I've never played Amnesia, so that's not my game, but Fear.
Oh.
So the first time I ever played Fear, I was at the time best friend's house, Trevor, and he did not tell me what game I was playing, but I remember I'm doing the part where you're like trying to find Alma and like you get in a few jump scares. I was like, oh, and it was like the early 2010s where those like plastic chairs with the speakers in the side, where the like kind of rocking ones. Yeah, and I remember running up to the roof where there's the jump scare of the dude hits you with the shovel and knocks you out. And I wasn't expecting it. And it jump scared me so bad that I flipped backwards. It just like straight rolled and landed on my feet and was holding his controller like, oh. I was like, I'm done.
Didn't pull the cord out of the system?
It was a cordless.
Oh.
That's why I go cordless. I have broken too many systems ripping cords out of the system.
I was saying even back then, huh? Yeah, they started cordless a while back, huh? That's right.
I don't feel very good.
I remember I'd always get those cheap ass Mad Cat controllers, and they'd last for like
a week
or two, and then they'd shit out.
They would last until one good session of COD. But no, Fear 1, I would definitely love to have Amnesia on and just like forget everything about it, because it's still a game I find creepy, and I still to this day will have nightmares of Alma. Like Alma herself, both the kid version and adult version, have a deep-rooted fear for me. It's to the point where I'm still like, I hate ladders in video games. I don't know who I say that to all the time. Whatever game I play with, whoever that has a shit ton of ladders, and I'm like, I fucking hate climbing ladders. But I hate ladders because of that game. Because you're literally going down a ladder and then she's just there.
She's like right between.
No, it's like you're walking on a platform and nobody's there, and you go to turn around and go down a ladder, and as you're turning down and you have both things, you look up and she's just standing there.
Oh wow.
And it scared the living shit out of me. And ever since then, and I think there's even one where you go up a ladder and you like climb up, nobody's there, but then you stand up and she's there again. And then there's fucking shit where you're walking down a hallway and then it fills with blood and she's walking across the ceiling at you.
Wasn't
he's
there a
just like,
cutscene in
nope,
Fear
nope.
where there was like some weird dark vortex or something, and
Probably.
like everybody died and there was just shit scattered? I don't know, dude. Like I never played the game.
You should.
I think I
They're
played
great.
like the beginning of the game because one of my friends had it.
They are honestly
we have
amazing games.
all of the Fear
we do.
games on
We
Steam.
do.
How many
On
are there?
Steam.
3?
There's 3.
No, there's more.
Oh, is there?
Really?
Yeah. So there's the 3 because it stops at Fear 3. I actually literally have Steam up and I was looking over it. So there's Fear, then Fear Extraction Point, Fear Perseus Mandate, Fear 2 Project Origins, and then Fear 3. And there might be more Fears than that because I vaguely remember hearing about a Fear 4. So I'm gonna Google.
There was supposed to be one. Yeah, you could Google that. I'm gonna use this time right now as I tally up your points. If you guys have any side things you'd like to throw in there to try to boost through your scores, I'll let you know right now your guys' scores are close. So whoever wants to try to milk it for some more points, I'm gonna tally up right now.
Saucer?
Anybody want free
I have
points?
nipple
Fear
blood.
First Encounter Assault Recon. Warner Brothers Interactive still has the publishing rights of Fear, and it's from 2009 to present, so it's still present.
I would love a reboot of Fear.
The latest release, I did remember there was another release, is Fear Online. Apparently.
Right?
Shit. No, I'm hearing shit.
Both of y'all are gonna die tonight from some.
It's a
evil entity.
free to play online multiplayer game. It was unveiled to the public on the launching of the official site in 2013. It's a 4-player co-op.
Is Steam an app that I can get on the Xbox or is it PC?
It's a
only?
PC only.
Okay. All right.
Fear Online was shut down in 2015 due to a lack of support and patches.
Bastards.
Well, anybody want to kiss some ass or some final points?
Hey Tim, your videos don't suck.
You just lost the point because you said Tim.
Whatever, Ryunn. If you give me that point back, Ryunn, I'll play a game with you after the podcast.
You want to play a game?
Bro, did anybody play the Saw games?
I believe
You want to play a game?
did, but I honestly can't remember. But I really.
I wish
think
they would.
did.
I wish they would go backwards compatible. Is that everybody trying to kiss ass for points? Is that
No.
it? You
Yeah.
all have done with the Amnesia episode? Well, drum roll somebody. Coming in with 10 points.
Did he freeze? I thought he froze. That was perfect, bro.
I could see that he was still breathing, and I'm like,
I
this is a
couldn't
fucking
tell. I'm
bit.
like, did I break it? What I do?
So people listening on the podcast, they're gonna get the bit. But David, you have 10 points. John,
You have 7.5, bitch.
you now
Nine.
have 2 points. But I need you to add that with 9.
You're about to say 8.
He was.
I could see it. I could see it.
9.
It was like
9.
9.
9.
John won by 1 point, ladies and gentlemen. You are the winner of the Gaming Amnesia podcast, and you finally have won an episode again. So we'd like to thank you guys so much for listening to
Keep
this
it
podcast.
down in there.
If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to check out our other
Come on,
podcasts on
good
whatever
podcast.
podcast
Go.
listening
Go.
app you guys
Go.
have. We will see you guys hopefully in 1 week where J-Dawg or J-Pup will be hosting whatever episode he'll host. And hopefully we will actually be accompanied by more guests, being that they will have a bigger availability.
Brian.
So yeah, we're done.
Or Saint or Noah or any of our friends.
Because you guys are in the drinking corner group chat. So
Right? They get
Just
to listen to
saying.
the group chat, but they're not going to participate in the podcast. Like, what?
They never respond when we're like, hey, let's do the podcast.
But again, thank you guys so much for listening or watching. Remember that if you guys are not listening to it and you want to view us sitting here in our little cubicles talking to each other with our facial expressions and jokes, you can find that at the Nerdgasmic Goodfellas YouTube channel. You can also check out my YouTube channel at Ryunn Eldred, RYUNN space ELDRED. You can find David on my channel because he doesn't do his own stuff. And here, relatively soon, J-Dawg should be starting up his own channel.
Yeah.
And we'll be happy to be bringing that in for
So,
you guys.
Super psyched
There's
for it,
actually
honestly.
something I need to tell you. I do have a YouTube channel. It is not completely active at the moment, but I also have a Twitch channel.
Yeah, he does have a Twitch
I
channel.
do have a Twitch
that he's
channel.
Not really all active on either.
I'm not active on it because of school, but soon. Well,
Yeah, just
actually,
don't ask him.
I take it back. I was going to be active, and then my computer decided to blow up, and that's why I haven't been active.
That is a fairly good
I
point.
have
Your
a
computer did
legit
explode.
reason why I haven't been live streaming. My laptop, which I'm currently on right now, is not doing well. The microphone, thankfully, is not picking up the death sound of the fan.
But thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate it. Make sure to share, whether you're listening on any of your podcast listening things like Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to share with everybody you know. Spread it like a virus. We will see you when John hosts. Bye-bye, everybody. That was poor taste. That was really poor taste.
That was really poor taste. Bye, everybody. We're going to go haze Ryunn for that.
Woohoo!